Hey there folks, what's up and welcome back to another video on Streaming Star. Before we get started, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can catch up on all the latest videos from our channel in the future. Cartoon Network is regarded globally as the best cartoon channel in the world. Throughout the years, it has provided a number of generations with the greatest cartoons of all times. There were so many cartoons that shaped our childhood and introduced us to our childhood idols. But there were some moments that made us awkward and question their presence in the episode. Here are some of those controversial moments. Number 5. Costly restrictions. This moment comes from the Yogi Bear show. Many people wouldn't know anything about the cartoon as it's more than half a century old. Yogi Bear was a cartoon that started out in 1958. Over the years, it progressed in different ways, including storyline and animations. It was a favorite among the kids at that time. The cartoon was based on a bear named Yogi and his partner Boo Boo, who tried to steal picnic baskets of families that came for recreation at the Jellystone Park. The duo did this because they were hungry and wanted to eat something delicious all the time, but they weren't alone. There was an antagonist character named Ranger Smith who tried to make the park work according to his rules. He didn't like noise and fun and made attempts to stop Yogi and Boo Boo from doing their antics. In one episode, there were serious problems depicted. This episode wasn't produced under the reputable name of Hanna-Barbera, but was a parody produced by John Kay and Spumco. In this episode, Ranger Smith tried to stop Yogi and Boo Boo by introducing very strict laws in Jellystone Park. These rules included not having fun, no grunting, and many others. But there was one rule that made it unbearable for Boo Boo especially. There was a rule by Ranger Smith. That rule said, no tearing out tree bark. As Boo Boo loved to do that, he was infuriated by Ranger Smith's law. He started shouting and threw a bad tantrum. There were other moments in that episode which completely left the audience's mouth wide open, such as the moaning of Boo Boo and his desperate drooling. But when viewers realized that Boo Boo tearing the bark off the trees actually meant ripping their skin, it gave the moment a whole new meaning and the audience was left baffled. Number 4. Scarred for life. The people from the 90s will remember Dexter's Lab very well. This show was one of the greatest shows during its time. Everything about the show was catchy and hilarious. A kid that was a genius lacked in physical appearance, while his sister was quite the opposite. She loved to tease and mess with his laboratory that was secretly built in his house's basement. Dexter had other opponents in his daily life as well. Apart from being a genius trying to invent new things every day, he lived a normal life. From going to school to doing the house chores, Dexter was an extraordinary child in many ways. But there were some moments that didn't come too well for the show. In one episode, Dexter saw an ice cream van and proceeded to the vehicle to buy an ice cream, but the driver didn't give him any and drove away. Dexter, being the ambitious kid he was, started chasing the van and managed to get his hands on an ice cream, but the driver quickly toppled Dexter's vehicle from a mountain. Even after such incidents, Dexter didn't give up and managed to get a hold of the ice cream van driver. After Dexter asked the van driver why he wouldn't give Dexter an ice cream, he managed to tell the whole story of his life. Once Dexter bought a popsicle from the man in pennies. After taking those pennies, the man ran into a lot of trouble. He lost his tooth by tripping over due to the untied laces of his shoes. His girlfriend broke up with him. He became homeless and had no job. After describing his story, the van driver blamed Dexter's pennies for his bad luck. He was in a state of agony and seemed quite angry. While Dexter had the look of bewilderment and uneasiness, it was an elaborate scene, but it surely left the audience in a confused state about what would happen next. Number 3. Sacrifice or controversy? In recent years, Cartoon Network has noticed a serious decline in its popularity. Many cartoons that were shown on the channel were considered a flop, and the channel's ratings went down in an instant. Adventure Time was a cartoon that revived the channel to its former glory, but not completely. It was a great cartoon that children cried on the last episode, but it had its fair share of questionable moments too. In one episode, Cookie and his chips held some candy people as hostages in a store. As Finn and Jake entered the store to rescue the people and held Cookie, they split up to distribute the work. Finn went to find the chips while Jake convinced Cookie to change his views of keeping Princess Bubblegum's crown to become a princess. But trouble doubled for Cookie when he learned that Princess Bubblegum wanted him imprisoned in a dungeon till death. To escape, Jake carried Cookie away until they were stopped by a gorge. As Finn was about to jump, Cookie made the decision of jumping to give up on his dream and save Jake. While the scene was emotional, it was pretty disturbing seeing Cookie jump in the gorge. He made it out though, and was locked away in a mental facility. Number 2. Mental Issues. Camp Laszlo was another one of Cartoon Network's masterpieces. The show's final episode showed a scene that was too difficult for the children to understand in a deeper meaning. Scoutmaster Lumpus didn't like doing laundry, so he came up with the idea of painting all the scouts' uniforms. For saving people's great amount of time, the camp gave him an honors day when things began to uncover. Later, Heifer showed up and proved to the camp that he was the original scoutmaster, and Lumpus was a mentally unstable patient who locked him up and took his position in the camp. The cops took him away and locked him up while he was restricted in a straitjacket. The scene had a lot of hidden mental stability issues portrayed, but kids enjoyed it because it was funny. Number 1. Discouraging Practices. Another fan-favorite cartoon of the 90s, Powerpuff Girls, was the biggest inspiration for many girls while growing up. Seeing the 3 girls fight against evil forces using supernatural powers was an exciting sight. Every episode was filled with fun and evil from different characters, be it the infamous Mojo Jojo or the Beatles. Another interesting character from the show was the town's mayor, who was an innocent old man trying to make things better for the town. In every episode, he would call the girls for help. The girls did everything for the people and were a role model for kids of the audience and Townsville as well. But this episode was majorly controversial in the entire running of the show. This episode featured Professor Dick Harding, who was Professor Utonium's college friend. He was inspired by the girls' ultimate power. He tried to buy the girls in order to make them profitable in weapons, but Professor Utonium refused. To get things done, Professor Dick manipulated the girls into getting him the secret ingredient. After acquiring it, he used child slaves to make a production line of the girls and sold them to other people, depicting human trafficking. He had a pathetic end, surely, but the actions shown in that episode were only for the adults to understand. There is no doubt that Cartoon Network will always remain the best channel for the millennials, but these moments appeared completely out of the blue and shocked everyone. Regardless, every cartoon of the channel was a huge hit and it attracted millions of children to it every day. It was, it is, and will always be the greatest cartoon channel of all time. Well, that about wraps up this episode, which we hope you guys had a blast breezing through. Do let us know your thoughts by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell icon to get the drop on all the latest videos we put out on our channel in the future. We'll be seeing you guys in another video real soon. Until then, take care and goodbye.